I like the direction that we're taking now. It's not like the new members had anything to do with the writing, but it was definitely more camaraderie, like with this group of people.
Joseph, Michael, how are you doing? You seem very relaxed there, although you're not on your couch behind you, so maybe you could be even more relaxed. How are you doing
today? This is not the room for relaxation. This is the studio area. It's in total disarray. As, I have yet to put a patch bay in, so everything is manual all around the damn room.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, the new album is coming. It's coming very soon. Now, obviously, a lot of these songs have been out already. You guys have released a lot of singles, but nevertheless, getting to that moment that the full thing is finally available to everybody. Are you somebody that's just good at hiding the excitement, or are you generally just pretty chill? These songs are obviously not brand new for you. You've been sitting on them for quite a while. What's the mindset right now?
Well, I mean, the thing is that we started our own label to release these, so all the excitement, all that energy gets used doing all of the work. I mean, we have a pretty good team. Our PR team in Europe and our distro in Europe, they take care of all that for the most part. But yeah, over here in the States, like, it's all me. So I don't, that energy's been spent.
There you go. So out of the 20 new hats that you've been wearing since you guys started Death Wave Records, what was the toughest one?
Honestly, they're not new, because even when we were with Century Media, like, I would oversee all that stuff anyway.
Right.
And if they dropped the ball, like, I had to be on it. We've always hired our own publicist here in the States. We have our own team, our own lawyer. I do all the admin, trademark stuff, accounting, all that bullshit that no one wants to do. And if the artist doesn't do it, the label sure as hell is gonna just tell you whatever they want you to hear.
Has this whole thing given you an appetite to take Death Wave beyond Witherfall as well, or will that be the exclusive partnership, if you will?
I don't see us signing any acts right now, but what I can see in the future is us taking on a role like a producer would. Like, we would sign an artist and produce, and then release them. And have like a partnership deal. Like, we're not going to go out and be A&R. What's the point?
Yeah, but like become somewhat of a trampoline, if you will, for people that you want to support that can get their start in a better way.
I think the way that, if you want to look at it like serving the industry, the best thing that, like, say, myself personally, would be to help with the writing and the production side of it. I mean, Jake and I produce and write all of our records. I can't even name how many songs I've been involved in the production, but that would be fun. I don't want to be like the label guy that people call like all mad. Like, I want to be in there, in front of the console, like, helping.
All right. Enough with that part of the conversation. Let's go into this album. That's why we're here at the end of the day. Or one of the many important reasons that we're here. One of my favorite things happens at second number 1 of the record, which is you guys made a clear, conscious decision not to start an epic, bombastic album with a long introduction setting the mood. When people press play, they'll, are in for a surprise if they haven't heard all the singles just yet. This album kicks off with They Will Let You Down, and it starts with a punch, and that, I think, was a very, very conscious choice. Am I right?
Absolutely. We don't really give a shit about the digital release. That's why we made this whole decision with the waterfall. It's like let the streaming algorithms do their thing, and people that want to listen to it that way, like, we'll take advantage of that by having that long drawn out like promotion of the record. But the main focus is the vinyl release. Like, I mean, we actually sell more vinyl than we do CDs, which is a first for us.
Okay.
And everything is sequenced for that experience. I mean, you can see a turntable right here. This is where we did all the listening. It's wired up into the system here. I mean, it's definitely meant to be a statement, because we get accused of not being heavy metal enough, like, a lot of times, because we have so many different elements to our sound.
Right.
So we were recording this song, and then I looked at Zeuss and I'm like, should we like just go full out? Like, we'll make this the first song, and like I'm gonna put like some ridiculous high falsetto thing at the beginning of it, just go total metal.
Yeah.
I mean, that it was a drunken decision, but I think it was the right one.
There you go. The lesson that we've learned here is drink more when you make really important decisions. And guess what? You guys have beer and wine to do that. So wonderful. We'll get
only if you're locked in a basement studio with no access to your car keys or cell phones to call your significant others.
There you go. Only, really expensive high-tech equipment around you.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of different sides to you guys, and on this album even more so. People that have listened to all of the different singles that came out in the Waterfall release have heard some very, very different sides. There's more still to come on this record. So a question for you. What's that like for you as a singer, especially when you're gonna go on the road? We'll get to that later. And you're gonna perform. You're gonna play maybe not all of these new singles, but you're gonna play quite a few of them, which means that you have to adjust pretty quickly in between songs. And unlike a guitar player who can take a differently tuned guitar that's ready for him to play the next song, you can't swap your throats just like that. So how hard or easy does it come for you these days after your career now to just jump from one extreme to the next?
I mean, it's kind of what I do. I mean, we could argue what my strengths are or whatever, but I think the fact that I'm like the Cal Ripken of fucking, I'm the utility guy, like for vocalists, I do a lot of things pretty well. And like, if you listen to the song like Insidious, there's like 8 bars where I'm doing like a death metal growl into like an operatic thing, and then into high falsetto, and then back down, like all within that short time span. But that's not cut up. That's done. That's one take. That's just kind of something I've been good at for a long time. I'm kind of a schizophrenic writer, so I've always had to increase my skill set over time to accommodate like the way that I write, the way that I see melody and character and just composition in general. Like it always happens. Like on every record, there's one song where I write something and it's like, oh shit, all right, how am I gonna voice this? How are we gonna do this? Like, because I'm stubborn. I'm not gonna like change the melody to make it easy. Like, it's gonna be that. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah. Now,
live's never an issue. Live's never an issue.
When you're playing live, though, with a ton of these singles out and what have you, just to kind of fast forward straight away, we'll come back to everything else on the record. But now that you mentioned playing these songs live, are you already then losing sleep on what a set list needs to be when you're going to be, supporting Angra, for example? Because you've got, a whole bunch of new singles now that you can, because usually when a band, especially a band that has had multiple albums like yourselves, it's like, okay, yeah, well, they'll play their classic hits, and oh yeah, the 2 singles that came out for the album are added to the set list, and that's it. With you guys, that might give you some headache in the, especially for support slots when you have a limited amount of time. If you could play 4 hours, that might be different. But is that already kind of on your mind, given that I know you are a perfectionist and you want to plan out properly?
Well, I mean, I really like, I'm speaking for myself, but I think there's a general agreement on it. I like the way that the new record came out, and I like the direction that we're taking now. It's not like the new members had anything to do with the writing, but it was definitely more camaraderie, like with this group of people.
Okay.
And having Gerry now on keyboards and also on guitars, and me and him switching back and forth live on, depending on the song, and the fact that he could sing harmonies, which we didn't really have someone that could sing harmonies before. It just kind of, it opened some doors for us, like with what we can recreate live. Mm-hmm. As far as that whole issue with do we play songs fans would know, or do we promote the new record? Our band is we have a pretty decent sized fan base, especially in certain countries, but there's more people that don't know who we are than know who we are. So let's just go out there with our best material, and who gives a shit.
You just said there's stuff that we can do now as a band, especially live, that was not available to us before. Does that mean that you've got already a short list of older songs that you want to kind of take through the ringer and potentially rearrange a bit so that this new lineup can take it to a new height?
Yeah, we definitely have been doing that. I don't know, we've only had 4 shows with the new lineup,
right?
All festival appearances. The thing is, we have such a weird string of shows coming up. So we're playing a festival in Mexico that's got a lot of black metal bands. So of course we're going to play all of our crazy songs for that, right? So we got to rehearse that set. And then we go to Spain and do headlining shows. So, okay, now we can stretch out. We can play 3 of our 10-minute songs and still have a decent number of songs, right?
Right.
And then the Angra thing, yeah, we're going to lean pretty heavy on the new record and some of our shorter songs, and then, maybe one old epic if need be time. So there's 3 lists right now.
All right. You're going to be busy in the rehearsal room, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, this album in particular, there's a lot going on, and won't spoil too much for people that still have to discover everything. But it's almost like you can almost wrap up this album as it's like this band's love letter to all that was great about classic metal in the late 80s and the 90s, where the metal that did survive, definitely got darker and had a very different atmosphere. But within it, I'm thinking about Morgana Le Fay, I'm thinking about Sabotage, Tony Martin, Sabbath, stuff like that. But then with typos, gloom and doom, poured all over it, if you will. It is this, the teenager inside of you coming out and celebrating everything that you thought was cool when you were much younger?
Shit, like when I first started hearing what I consider the beginning of dark melodic metal,
right,
the hashtag that we use, I think of King Diamond, Conspiracy, I think I was 6 or something. It's kind of you're right, but it's even more. It's a broader arc, the total arc of time from the 70s all the way till a few years ago. Even you could go as far as the Evanescence era, of that sort of darker hot topic-y thing, but it still was kind of dark pop, right?
Yeah.
If the Cure was more metal centric and not not so indie rock or goth rock.
Well, I mean, I would almost make the arc even bigger when you say go to the 70s. I would say go to the 1770s, because something that you guys always do, which is part of your sound, and definitely on this album as well, something that other bands have also, done to perfection. Bands like Accept, obviously, is where there's a lot of classical influences that seep into your music, specifically when it comes to some guitar solos that we find on this record, right? They Will Let You Down, that we already talked about, is a good example. Where Do I Begin, Ceremony of Fire. In all of these, you got like these, not classical melodies that sometimes feel extremely instantaneously recognizable, but also make them super catchy, maybe even more catchy than you expect from a dark melodic metal band. Who's the big classical music nerd when you're writing music?
Well, Jake and I are both, and it's deceptive because everyone immediately hears like the Baroque guitars,
right.
Or they hear like certain vocal harmonies. They think, oh, that's like this, like oh, but it goes even deeper. Like, and I think a lot of people, like I get in trouble because a lot of the like symphonic metal, I'm like, that's like poser shit. Like that, just because there's like one fucking fake violin line over a heavy guitar doesn't make this classical music. Like,
right.
Where's the counterpoint? Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's just the veneer of classical music. Like if you listen to Insidious, like that's total like really deep like Tchaikovsky harmony going on in the heavy part between the dissonant vocal harmonies and the guitars that you wouldn't think that's classically influenced, but if you were to break it down and analyze it, chart it out, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on in there? And that's how we think about like our writing in classical music. We don't like, Yngwie was a thing and they call it neoclassical, but that was just like one very shallow pool of like the classical zeitgeist, like just like violin sonata, right? Like, okay, but when like you listen to some symphonic stuff and the harmony starts to get really deep and twisted, like that's what we're talking about when we talk about our classical influences. Like, a solo instrument like guitar it can always be like compared to classical music, like on the surface.
Does that mean that for you the classical element, if you will, is something that should stay contained within like the instruments that are in the band and kind of like ingrained into the DNA of the band? Or does that mean that, if you could, you'd love to play your songs live with like, a 50-piece orchestra and have that extra layer there? Because it doesn't necessarily call for that, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not that you need to add classical instruments on top of what you're already doing because you're already playing in that certain style. If you see what I'm getting at.
Yeah. The writing is like, when we say we're classically influenced, doesn't mean we have violins. It means that the way we approach harmony,
exactly.
Like, and even if you look at like our song structures are closer to classical music with the different movements than say like a rock band or a metal band. Like, that's what we mean. As far as like what you said, like the whole like Metallica S&M thing was awesome for them because their harmony was very simple for the most part. So whoever was it, Michael Kamen, like he could just come in and just do whatever he wanted because there was so much room. I mean, I couldn't imagine the score to like fuck. I mean, yeah, like Insidious, like the score, like you wouldn't even know like what chord is going on. Like if we added more layers.
Well, and it would only make sense if you actually kind of like remove parts that are currently done by you guys.
Out.
And like somehow build that up.
I think, and Jake would probably agree, it would be fun to write a record that had those elements specifically, like, like a very 70s thing. Like here, this is our, you know what I mean?
Concerto for Group and Orchestra Part 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I mean, why not? Why not? Then you'll end up with just a show where you can just play 2 songs that are 45 minutes long, and then that's the end. But
we have a 22-minute song that we were working on when we were writing this record, and we just kind of put it to the side because it had no place on this record whatsoever.
So help me understand when you're writing this record, given how diverse it is and that you kind of take us on unexpected turns. What makes a song that bridge too far then? I mean, assuming that length of a record would not be an issue.
Right. I mean, yeah, because these are all, we don't want triple vinyls, man. The shipping on that. No, it is all about context. The Other Side of Fear was a song on Curse of Autumn that we actually had the bones of the verse and chorus during Prelude to Sorrow, but then while we were writing Prelude to Sorrow, it turned out that that record was about Adam, and that song didn't really fit with the whole theme of it, and that's kind of what ends up happening. Like, we're very purposeful in our writing. We don't just throw stuff against the wall. So, like, if we're working on something and then all of a sudden, like, a form for the record comes, because like I said, we everything is about the record, right? Like, so then, like, oh, well, this song isn't going to be for them. So let's just, here it is. It's written down. Like, put it off. So,
yeah.
It's all about thinking.
So we might see a 22-minute EP appear at some point.
Yeah, we were talking about it. Yeah.
The album is almost here as we're talking, which is exciting, and then everybody can finally get the whole picture, which is cool. But because this album is so diverse, the singles also stand on themselves as well, which is cool. So you can really go for the full journey with you guys and sit down and enjoy the whole ride, or you can just focus on 1 or 2 songs that you just want to hear right now. And I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to bang their heads a lot to "They Will Let You Down," given the intensity and the speed of that one. And I have a feeling we're gonna see that song when you guys are on the road and on a stage. And I hope that I see you guys on that stage this year, sooner rather than later. Joseph, Michael, thank you so much for your time to go a little deeper, into everything that is going on in your world, which is a lot. And then, I'm gonna go lay down now. There you go. Go lay down, crack open a Witherfall beer, or have some of the wines. I don't know what other collaborations are coming out. I don't know if you're going to go full Kiss and have a casket as well at one point, but that might be a step too far.
Not yet. Hopefully in like 30 or 40 years.
There you go. And then you can replace yourself by AI
don't give me
holograms and shit like that, like Kiss is doing right now.
Oh God, the whole AI thing. Ugh.
To bring us back to this album is a celebration of when time was very analog, starting to become digital, and dark melodic metal was becoming a thing that you are bringing back into the modern day music. Joseph, Michael, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I wish you guys the best with this release. I hope you find a little bit of that energy back in between all your chores, so you can actually take a step back and enjoy this moment as well. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Jasper.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.